समझ नहीं आ रहा अपने सैलरी इंक्रीमेंट का क्या करूं।
बेटा इतना क्या सोच रहा है, अपने म्यूचुअल फंड्स के एसआईपी का टॉप अप करा ले। दिस इज द राइट टाइम।
क्या समझ में नहीं आया।
बेटा इतना क्या सोच रहा है, अपने म्यूचुअल फंड्स का एसआईपी टॉप अप करा ले। दिस इज द राइट टाइम।
अब समझा।
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.
There has been a big tragedy for India at the big Dubai Air Show. This is a breaking news story, and we can now confirm to you that India's fighter jet, the LCA Tejas, the light combat aircraft Tejas, developed by HAL, has crashed during a demo maneuver at the Dubai Air Show, one of the world's biggest aviation exhibitions. The Air Force has confirmed moments ago that unfortunately, the pilot who was steering the maneuvers of the Tejas LCA for the Dubai Air Show did not manage to eject and has suffered fatal injuries. This is the second such incident involving the Tejas in the last 2 years, but before that, it had an accident-free 23 years. The Tejas jet has been critical to India's indigenization program and also the modernization of its fighting fleet. Developed as a single-seat LCA by the HAL, Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, the Tejas has been the pride of place in India's fighter jet pantheon, and what has happened and unfolded in Dubai moments ago is a colossal tragedy. We'll be having experts join us as we continue to look at the details that are still coming in on this developing breaking news tragedy, a heartbreaking video, and series of videos that in fact capture the moment of the crash. Let's start by showing you some of these. Remember that the Dubai Air Show is one of the world's biggest air exhibitions. It is attended not just by aviation experts and represented, with representations from different countries across the world. There's also a large press contingent. There's also a large public gathering. And so, unfortunately, this crash, this horrible, heartbreaking, unfortunate crash was caught on camera. You can actually see the Tejas erupt into a ball of fire. And let's play out for you some of those heartbreaking videos, the final moments of this LCA Tejas, India's fighter jet, as it went down.
Oh, shit! Oh, shit! 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 Oh my God! This is Indian language.
I am Ajime Singh.
Oh shit! Oh shit! 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 Oh my God! This is Indian language.
I am Ajime Singh.
Like I said, there was a wide public and media in attendance at the Dubai Air Show, along with aviation experts and representations from militaries across the world. That crash has been documented on multiple cameras from multiple angles. And the most tragic piece of news is this, confirmed moments ago by the Indian Air Force. If I can also have the details on the screen, the Indian Air Force deeply regrets the loss of life. The Air Force has said in a statement issued moments ago confirming that the pilot who was steering the Tejas jet at the Dubai Air Show did not manage to eject. This will come in for some discussion by experts because, in fact, the 00 ejection seat of the Tejas LCA, which is meant to enable pilots to eject safely, is one of the key hallmarks of the Tejas LCA, the indigenous developed fighter jet by HAL, Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. Let me just read out for you the Indian Air Force statement. An Indian Air Force Tejas aircraft met with an accident during an aerial display at the Dubai Air Show today. The pilots sustained fatal injuries in the accident. The IAF deeply regrets the loss of life and stands firmly with the bereaved family in this time of grief. A court of inquiry has been constituted to ascertain the cause of the accident. As I was mentioning, this is the second such accident involving the Tejas LCA in the last 2 years. The first accident involving the Tejas took place in 2024 in Rajasthan. But at that time, it was the very first time that the Tejas had encountered such a mishap in its 23 years. The Tejas LCA has, in a way, it's been critical to India's indigenization of our defense preparedness, but also the modernization of our fleet. And just before the Tejas so tragically crashed at the Dubai show, it was performing daring maneuvers. All seemed to be well. And then just a few split seconds later, it all changed as the aircraft erupted into virtually a ball of fire. These are the final moments, the final maneuver of a brave, daring pilot who tragically has not survived this crash moments before his jet went down. Take a look.
I am ultimating good before. I am ultimating good before. I am ultimating good before. I am ultimating good before.
If you've just joined us, this is a breaking and developing story. We are awaiting further details as to what may have caused that horrible crash that has been caught on multiple cameras by different contingents who were in attendance at the Dubai Air Show. You can hear people really sort of exclaim in disbelief and shock as they had their phones up, perhaps to capture the daring maneuvers at the Dubai Air Show being performed by the Tejas aircraft. And then you can hear them go, oh shit, as they see the plane going down, seemingly lose stability, lose control. For anyone who is joining us at 8 minutes past 5, we can confirm to you that a few minutes after 2 p.m. earlier today at the Dubai Air Show, one of the world's largest aviation exhibitions with representations from militaries and countries across the world, India's fighter jet Tejas, a single-seat light combat aircraft often referred to as the LCA, has crashed. Tragically, the Air Force has confirmed that the pilot has not been able to eject. In fact, there are videos that show that precise moment when the jet goes up in flames, and you're able to see that there was no ejection. The reason that this is important to mention, while of course we don't know much about what may have caused this crash, the reason it's important to mention is this is one of the key features of the Tejas LCA is its special 00 ejection seat. It's actually designed to enable pilots to eject to safety. The Tejas is a multi-combat aircraft. It has never had an accident till 2024 when it had its first accident in Rajasthan. But this ejection seat has in the past helped a pilot escape to safety. This time, clearly, that ejection seat did not, in fact, work. We are still awaiting, as I said, more details. The Indian Air Force has only put out a very brief statement confirming the loss of life to the pilot, and we have comments coming in from experts, which we're just going to play out, saying that the court of inquiry that has been constituted will be looking at all dimensions of this tragedy. As I mentioned, it's the second such crash involving the Tejas that took place or has taken place in the last 2 years. Before that, in its 23 years of development, the Tejas has never actually had an accident. And, the court of inquiry will be looking into all angles. The pilot has unfortunately not survived. This is the Indian Air Force statement. Let me read it out for you once again. The Indian Air Force Tejas aircraft met with an accident during an aerial display at the Dubai Air Show today. The pilot sustained fatal injuries in the accident. The IAF deeply regrets the loss of life and stands firmly with the bereaved family in this time of grief. A court of inquiry is being constituted to ascertain the cause of the accident. And it would be instructive for us to check that when the Tejas crashed in Rajasthan in 2024, I don't remember correctly, but I think I don't remember for sure, but I think the pilot may have ejected at that time. We're just going to check that very, very quickly. Yes, it has been confirmed to me that the pilot in that crash was able to eject safely, and therefore, actually, what you're looking at today is the first casualty to a pilot involving the Tejas, the second crash, but the first casualty. I was talking earlier about the ejection seats, which are a special feature of the Tejas aircraft. They're in fact called 00 Martin Baker ejection seats, and they're designed to help the pilots eject. And that's what happened in Jaisalmer in Rajasthan. When the first Tejas crash took place, the pilot was able to at least survive the crash. And this time, unfortunately, that has not happened. We have reactions coming in from experts as we continue to look at all dimensions of this tragedy that has taken place for India, Indian aviation, and the Indian military today at the Dubai Air Show. Our heart goes out to the pilot, tributes and condolences to our men and women in uniform who take these risks every single day of their lives. Let me play out the first of many reactions that are beginning to pour in as an Indian fighter jet, the LCA Tejas, has crashed at the Dubai Air Show.
Tejas has crashed during the Dubai Air Show. Fate of the pilot is being ascertained.
Yes. In my assessment, this is very negative, very unfortunate development has taken place in Dubai Air Show when our Tejas fighter jet, one of our Tejas fighter jet crashed, and this entire incident is being investigated. And I believe that all angles will be investigated, whether there was any technical snag or whether it was a case of a sabotage. Nothing can be ruled out at this point of time, and the investigation process is going on. And I think this is the second such case of Tejas crash in recent times. Last year also, one of our Tejas fighter jets crashed in Rajasthan during while taking a flight. So I think these developments are very tragic. Obviously, we can just hope and pray that the pilot is safe. And but still, the facts are coming out, facts are emerging, and we will have to wait for some more time to get clearer facts of what has happened out there. And then obviously the reasons for this kind of tragic development will be investigated. And I believe that lessons will be learned, and Tejas fighter jet is in this process of advancements, and this fighter jet is getting upgraded. It shows our self-reliance in defense production, but that process might have some troubled times in between, and this is one of those times. And I believe that this entire incident will be investigated and lessons will be learned. But yes, I would also say that nothing can be ruled out at this point of time. Every angle will be investigated and lessons will be learned.
What does it mean, and can panic situation created about Indian Air Force equipments and fighter jets?
No, I believe that Indian defense equipments have enormously good credibility in the global market, global defense market, and that a lot of countries have shown their interest in buying Tejas fighter jets, and Tejas fighter jets are also going to be giving their services in our Indian Air Force in a big way in times to ahead. But as I said, that this fighter jet is in process of making. This fighter jet is in process of getting more and more advanced, and during such kind of processes, this kind of unfortunate things do happen, and troubles do come, and this is one of those troubles which this fighter jet is facing, and this is a challenging situation. Also, I would say at the same time, when it is very tragic, it is a very challenging too. And I believe that all the aspects will be investigated. Our engineers will be looking at to every aspect of why this crash has happened, why that crash had happened last year also, and what kind of lessons can be learned, and how this fighter jet, which is a 4.5 generation multi-role fighter aircraft, and which is having a great future in my assessment. So I think such lessons will be learned, and this aircraft will be further upgraded that in such a way that no such tragic incidents occur in future.
Fate of the pilots is being uncertain.
Yes, I think it's still fate.
Right. Unfortunately, though, at the time that interview was taken, the fate of the pilot was not known. The Air Force has now confirmed that the pilot did not survive the crash. Ironically, just yesterday, the government fact-checked what it called rumors and fake news on an alleged or supposed rather oil leak in the Tejas. You can see it on your screen. Viral videos show routine intentional draining of condensed water and not oil leakage. This happened yesterday because there were some videos that were circulating on social media claiming that there was an oil leak in the Tejas in Dubai, and the government issued this clarification just yesterday, very clearly saying that the videos on social media that spoke about oil leakage, it was not oil leakage, but it was in fact intentional draining of condensed water. So basically what was trickling out of those videos was called an oil leak, but it was not an oil leak. In fact, it was the drainage of what the government called condensed water. Now we're trying to get you more details as they come in. As I mentioned, the crash has been captured from different angles, and just yesterday the government had issued this statement, this fact check, saying that viral videos claiming that the Tejas was suffering an oil leak were not true. It was merely an attempt to intentionally drain the condensed water from the jet. But unfortunately, today we now have official confirmation that something went terribly, terribly wrong. If you've just joined us, India's fighter jet, the LCA Tejas, has crashed at the Dubai Air Show, one of the world's biggest air exhibitions, with people in attendance from literally every country in the world, a whole media contingent and members of the public. And that crash, the tragic, heartbreaking crash, has been caught on camera. The pilot has not survived the crash. I want to play out for you the last few moments of the Tejas before it went down.
I am originating good before. I am originating good before.
the final moments, and just before that, daring maneuvers were being performed by the pilot at the wheel. This is a single seat light combat aircraft used for multiple roles in a combat situation. The Tejas has dominated the headlines now for several years. It has been critical to both the indigenization and the modernization of India's fighting fleet. I'm told now that we can introduce on this special and tragic broadcast. Group Captain Alawat is with us. As I mentioned, the Air Force has confirmed officially that the pilot has not survived this crash. He has not survived what the Air Force is calling fatal injuries. On camera, we can see the Tejas go down in a ball of flames. Thank you, sir. It's an unfortunate moment. I was just mentioning that it's the second such crash involving the Tejas, but in the earlier one in 2024, the pilot was in fact able to eject to safety, and the 0-0 ejection seats of the Tejas are in fact a key hallmark of the jet, but this time the pilot was unable to do so. We don't have a lot more details except for official confirmation of the pilot tragically not surviving this. Your thoughts, your insights at this moment would be really appreciated.
Ma'am, first of all, very sad and tragic day. The entire IAF community, both serving and retired, express deep condolences to the family. We lost a pilot, we lost a jet, and we also, there was a loss of, there was a reputational damage as well. So a sad day on many fronts. A thorough investigation will be conducted. The exact cause of the accident will be found out. Speaking broadly about the Tejas aircraft first, it's a fantastic aircraft. It has one of the best flight safety record in the world of a single engine fighter. There was no accident, no catastrophic accident during the developmental cycle. Only one so far during the squadron service, and this is the second one.
Yeah.
Displays, air show displays are not really a squadron task. They are more like edge of the knife kind of maneuvers. Very skilled pilots are chosen for these things. Maneuvers are selected, practiced, rehearsed thousands of times before they're executed. So I'm as eager to know as you or viewers are why this happened. We are all feeling very sad. These are my opening thoughts, ma'am.
It is very important that you mention the safety record of the Tejas, because while it is being written about as the second incident in 2 years, before that for 23 years, there has been no mishap. And in the last or in the first time it went down, the pilot was in fact able to eject to safety. Can you tell us a little more about the Tejas, why it's been so important to India? Its rollout has sometimes been, mired in delays. It's been critical to the indigenization and modernization of our fleet.
Speaking about Tejas is always a mixed bag. You feel immense pride because it's a homegrown aircraft. You also have immense dissatisfaction, so to speak, because of delays. There is also awareness that it is not entirely indigenous. We do rely on American engines to make sure the Tejas get airborne. But the entire combination of the avionics, airframe, engine, and the crew training, it's a fantastic platform. IAF takes great pride in it. That's why we sent Tejas to perform in international air shows. There were hopes that more countries would see the benefit of this aircraft, and there'll be some foreign orders as well. That I see will take a hit because everybody would want to know the cause of the accident. So broadly speaking, the accident could occur in a show like this because of three reasons. One is lack of energy or adequate energy that is needed, which is a combination of speed and height. The second is the pilot's skill. Every state of the sequence of maneuver, every stage, the pilot has to make some crucial decisions. If there is a flaw in the decision-making cycle, that could cause an accident. And third, catastrophic failure, like a fly-by-wire control where the pilot demanded something out of the aeroplane and the aeroplane did not deliver. There is an additional factor which might seem a little out of place, but is always considered, is sabotage. Every catastrophic accident of this nature, sabotage as an angle is always investigated and ruled out. So that factor will also be looked at very carefully in this case.
And I don't want you to speculate because we simply don't know. But if I were to, you must have seen the videos, and the videos have been caught by all angles because there's media there, there's public there, there's aviation geeks there are militaries there are defense buyers there. This is one of the world's most significant air shows. So I'm imagining that Indian Air Force sent one of our best pilots out there. So, probably the skill would have been tested and retested many times. But I was interested by something you said. You said an air show demonstration is not a squadron's job. Could you explain that?
So, maneuvering at low level in front of international audience is a very skilled job. And you can't just pick a qualified pilot, a skilled pilot who does, air combat in the morning and gunnery in the evening and navigation at night, and then say you are a good pilot, you have about 2,000 hours on type, let's start doing aerobatics. So before we choose a pilot for a function or a mission like this, we definitely look at the skill levels higher than normal, we look at the experience higher than average, and then the maneuvers are designed based on the capability of the aeroplane. We don't demand a maneuver out of the aircraft that the aircraft can't deliver with adequate safety margins. Having designed those maneuvers, actually it's a sequence of maneuvers. The same maneuvers are carried out at altitude at a greater height. So if should something go wrong, there is room to recover. And gradually the operating height is lowered. Kinks or areas of concern are rehearsed in simulator. The profiles are rehearsed in simulator. And more important than that, a display pilot flies the sequence of maneuver in his or her head multiple times before the show, during the show, between the details. You would have seen images and videos of airshow pilots, using their hand, closing their eyes and walking around. So they fly it, they hard code it in their brain. They know exactly what happens when. And then there are certain aid to decision making called gates for a maneuver in which you have to go downward at a great speed. Before you invert and start rolling down, you look at your height. So there's a gate. If you are not within the gate or higher, you don't do that. So there are, the pilots are trained to execute these things. So let's see, from the videos that I have seen, there are two areas of concern. One is the aircraft hit the ground with almost wings level condition. It looks like a controlled flight into the terrain. However, if you look at the video a little bit longer, there is a stage when the aircraft flies straight and level, and I could sense something wrong with the way aircraft appeared. That could be the place the pilot lost the energy, that is thrust, or somehow the flight control gave up. Too early to say. At this stage, condolence is the only thing that comes to my mind.
Let me just play the two or three sort of camera angles that have captured this, because I'm interested in, I'm no expert, but you described it very well right now, that actually the maneuvers, the jet seems absolutely fine while doing its maneuvers, and then something seems to happen suddenly and it just literally nosedives. I mean, that word nosedives, and then it explodes into a ball of fire. I'm just going to play out this video, sir, and come back to you. I understand we must be very responsible. We must not speculate. There's only so much we can say at this hour. But just for a quick set of final comments, right after we play out this horrible, tragic crash of the Tejas caught on camera.
Oh, shit! Oh, shit! 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 Oh my god. This is Indian Tejas.
I am originating good before.
That last video in particular shows that everything seems to be okay, and then it suddenly goes down. I'm using very layperson language, do pardon me. But when you see a loss of energy, a loss of thrust, do we know what conditions that can take place in, or what might suddenly cause it?
Ma'am, too early to call. I'd say there are too many things that could go wrong, and unfortunately, in a single engine fighter, you don't have the other engine to kind of bring you back home. it was too close to the ground and too little reaction time. The first couple of videos that you played, they all showed something has gone horribly wrong. But what did go wrong, for that we'll have to look at little longer, maybe a zoomed in kind of thing. But it did appear to me that from things going absolutely fine to something going horribly wrong, I don't know, too early to tell, but it did look to me somehow the pilot lost control of the aircraft because either the flight control gave up or he suddenly did not have the energy that he needed at that stage. But let's see, man. Let's hope we get to see. You know what happens? The jet, we can build another one. It's homegrown. Fine, we'll spend some money. We can't bring the pilot back. Also, the reputational damage, ma'am. IAF, we boast ourselves to be one of the finest. But if you lose a jet and turns out there's a skill issue, that also is an area of concern. So again, too many moving parts at this stage.
And in probably it happened so quickly that there was either no time to eject or something went wrong even with the ejection seat, because I was talking earlier about the ejection seat, the 00 ejection seat being a key hallmark of the LCA. But it all happened so quickly that I don't even know in what circumstances the pilot can eject or may not be able to eject. If you could speak to that, sir, please.
Ejection is something that we speak about from the day a cadet starts flying. When it's time to go, you go. I do remember when I was an instructor and flying, I used to tell my trainee that when I say eject, you eject. If you ask me confirm eject, sir, I won't be there to answer. So it is taught to be a second nature. But there is a gray, there is a problem with decision making when you feel that there is enough room available for you to recover the aircraft. So if there's a catastrophic failure, like say you lost control or the engine gave up on you, there is no doubt. The decision is easy. You punch out. But if you're still not sure, you feel there is enough available in the envelope that you can recover the aircraft, that tends to cause some people to delay the decision and go down with the aircraft. I don't know if that was the reason here, but I'm speaking in generic terms.
Yeah. Finally, sir, what happens now? The Air Force has announced a court of inquiry, and the Air Force has to manage grief and human loss. As you mentioned, there is a family. That family will be watching the horror of somebody they love going down in this fashion for India, for his job. But there is also the hard questions that will now have to be asked, that the court of inquiry that has already been announced by the Air Force will be looking at, because as you mentioned, before these two incidents, 2024 and this year, the Tejas, at least on safety, it's had other issues of delays, but at least on safety, it's had no problems that we know of, or that, you've said it has a terrific safety record. Where will the court of inquiry's priority, like what happens now? Like explain to us procedurally what happens now.
Once again, ma'am, a terrific flight safety record for the aircraft. There are millions of problems with the program per se, but aircraft is an exceptional aircraft. So let's not, I will advise your viewers also, let's not start running down the aeroplane at this stage. We'll wait for more. For the investigation, there are templates in place, ma'am. And as a fighting force, I hate to say this, that grief management and, there are a lot of moving parts. People will kick in, the squadron will get in touch with the family. They'll be with the family, the wife, the child, or the parents. I don't know the exact details. That portion will be taken care of. The professionals who know something about engines and accidents, the investigation team will land in UAE as soon as possible. Probably they're already airborne. They'll collect as much evidence as possible, amateur videos, the cockpit recorders, and then they'll try and start piecing back the sequence of events. The environmental factors: did the pilot get adequate rest? Was there enough time between two missions? Was there a bird hit? Was the engine health okay? Was the maneuver? Did the pilot execute a maneuver that was not briefed? Or all those kind of things. Was there a sabotage? All those things. There is a template, ma'am. They have a checklist. They'll start, checking out one item after another. If there are more things to look at, then more teams will jump onto this. It's a very, very, very important for us to get to the bottom of this, especially now because it happened on a world stage.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that while, of course, our, at a human level, your heart first goes to the pilot, then the loss of the jet. Obviously, there's no question of the hierarchy of reactions. The loss of human life, the loss of one of our own, is where our attention is, and then the loss of the jet. But I do want you to talk about the fact that this happened in front of the world's leading aviation experts, and what kind of, how will India fight the shadow that some may choose to bring on the jet at this point? The jet, as you said, the delays in the rollout of the program have attracted a lot of attention. Not a judgment of the jet itself, which, as you pointed out, don't be in a lazy hurry to run down the jet. It's actually had a terrific safety record. Even the crash last year, the pilot was able to eject to safety, which speaks to one of the key features of the aircraft. But sir, if I may ask you, this shadow that will now be cast on a program already mired in delays over the years, how should India respond to that? How should we be countering that?
Ma'am, this might turn out to be a little controversial, but I do believe it'll take us a while to, shed this tag of this accident. In my opinion, truth your best defense. Whatever the reason was or is recovered or discovered, we should come out clean, tell the world that if it is a skill-based issue, we'll strengthen our training. If it was an equipment issue, we will strengthen our maintenance practices. It was a combination, then we'll fix that. So I think, in my opinion, we should do a thorough investigation, get to the bottom of this, and please reveal the truth, whatever it is, and fix it. That would be my recommendation.
One last question before we let you go, sir. What kind of training, I'm just curious to understand this. You said that air demos are actually a highly specialized, almost independent training. They're different training from the flying of jets, from combat zone training, from air offense or defense training. What would be the training that somebody, the pilot who was at the controls would have undergone? If you can share that with us.
When the demo pilot or the display pilot is generally mid-senior to senior pilot who has adequate experience on the type, has displayed above average skills. A mature pilot shows judgment, presence of mind, and thereafter there is a team that works on the sequence of maneuvers based on what the aeroplane can deliver based on the capabilities. A pilot or a group of pilots or a bunch of pilots, normally more than one, are made to go through the entire sequence at an altitude where there's enough room should things go wrong for you to recover. Then the entire display elevation is lowered to start doing it at low levels. If required, you do it at the simulators which are available. And more important that, as I mentioned earlier, the display pilot flies the entire sequence in his or her head multiple times. So it's a very specialized job. Once you are detailed to be a demo pilot, you are given adequate time and space to rehearse and rehearse and re-rehearse.
Well, it is an extremely tragic turn of events, Group Captain. As you said, India has lost a pilot. We have lost a jet. And there will be now questions about one of India's most high-profile defense programs, the LCA, the Light Combat Aircraft with a single seat, where the pilot has not survived. The second such incident in the last 2 years. But Group Captain reminds us, don't be down on the jet. It has a terrific safety record, even if the rollout of the program has had other problems. We simply should not be speculating right now. There are many, many questions in the court of inquiry we'll have to get to the bottom of. Group Captain Alawat, I do appreciate very much your time. Thank you, sir, for joining us. If you have just joined us, thank you, sir. We'll let you get to it now. If you have just joined us, we have terrible news coming from the Dubai Air Show, one of the world's biggest aviation exhibitions. India's LCA, the Light Combat Aircraft Tejas, indigenously developed, that has been critical to the modernization and the indigenization of our fighting fleet, has crashed. It crashed a little after 2 p.m. earlier today, in the presence literally of the world's cameras. This crash has been caught from multiple angles. Moments before the Tejas went down, the pilot seemed entirely comfortable doing any number of daring maneuvers, and then in a few seconds, it had all it had all changed. The jet simply crashed, nose diving into the ground and exploded into a ball of orange fire. There you can see it, and you can also hear, and we'll play out those videos for you in a moment from now. In those videos, you can hear people saying, "Oh my God, oh shit, is this sea?" And they can't, like, in disbelief, in shock, in horror, that helplessness that you feel as you see a jet that is meant to rule the skies tumble to its fall, to its end. What is most tragic, of course, at this hour is that the Indian Air Force has confirmed that the pilot has not survived fatal injuries. I now see my dear friend and very respected military veteran, Group Captain Dr. M.J. Augustine is with us. Thank you, sir. I know many people are trying to speak to you at this point. We really appreciate, we're really grateful for your time. And in fact, it was your post on social media that I think first alerted each one of us to the fact that this tragedy had taken place. So we thank you for bringing this to our attention. Sir, if with your permission, I'll just play out that video first so that anybody who's just joining us can see how this crash took place. As I said, the Dubai Air Show is one of the world's biggest, most significant aviation exhibitions. Everybody, militaries, defense buyers, defense sellers, aviation geeks, the general public was there, and they saw this happen. Take a look.
Oh shit! Oh shit! 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 Oh my God! This is Indian Tejas.
I am originating good evening to all.
So, Dr. Augustine, very, very tragic official confirmation, as I mentioned, that the pilot has not survived. I want to know your first thoughts. When you saw this happen, what went through your mind?
Very, very tragic, Barkha. So many memories came flooding back of me picking up my friends and, plastic bags. So that is the kind of, you know how it is. So
yeah,
that is the first thing that hits you, when you lose a friend in like that. And not the first time I'm losing a friend in arm in front of my eyes. So that is another thing that really shakes you up. But then it is, a part of the deal a fighter pilot signs up for. In this, Barkha, let me give a few context so that our viewers understand exactly what happened and the nuances of how it happened. In my best of my knowledge, since I've done hundreds of hours of aerobatics and hundreds of hours of flying close to the ground, and having been in an accident myself, and all the skin is new. So with that as the backdrop and the background, I'm saying this. Tejas does a wonderful signature maneuver, which you put out beautifully there.
Yeah.
Called the negative G turn. So the negative G turn is Tejas is the only aircraft in the world which does this. It puts on bank like towards you. I mean, I would request Ria to play that video in the center.
I think
you,
I'm asking, let me just actually get them to play that. Yeah. We have that maneuver. We have that maneuver video. It's just going to come up, sir. Let it come up and you can actually explain it to us because, there it is. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah. So it's called the negative G turn maneuver, in which the aeroplane is facing you. So the enemy thinks that normally when an aeroplane puts on bank, it normally turns towards you, isn't it?
Yeah.
The aeroplane puts on bank like this, it'll turn this way.
Yeah.
But Tejas puts on bank like towards you, but turns away from you. This is called the negative G turn. The blood comes into your eyes. So as it is, you can see right now in front of your screen. It's called the negative G turn maneuver. It's a negative G split. So this is actually a combat maneuver, which is a signature combat maneuver of Tejas. And why do when we show that, I mean, like you said, Tejas is a showstopper in this entire display, single fighter display or a single engine fighter display. So when it does a negative G turn, like it is put on turn and like this, and it does a split and does something called a barrel roll.
Yeah.
Now, I told you I've been in this situation for many times. I was stationed in Barkha. In the morning, when you go do a strafing run, very close to the ground, you come fire your bullets very close to the ground, you pull out. The mush, what is a mush? The aeroplane's nose is up, okay? Pilot sees only the sky, and the aeroplane appears to the pilot as that it is climbing out. But actually, the nose is up, Barkha, and you can see just before the crash, the nose is up. The pilot, putting myself in the pilot's shoes, I can see only the sky, but the aeroplane is marching towards the ground. So from the time the nose comes up to the time your aeroplane actually goes up, there is a finite loss of height. That is called the mush. You see this? See my hand? Comes down like this, nose goes up, but the aeroplane continues to go down and then it comes up because of the inertia. This mush, the height loss in this mush is function of the density altitude or the density of the air, which you can't see. You and I cannot see the density. Peculiarity of a desert area like UAE or Badmer is that in the morning when the temperature is less, the mush is less. In the afternoon, when the temperature is more, the mush is more because the air is now less denser or it is thinner.
Yeah.
So the same maneuver you did in the morning, you would have easily, clearly come out of it. But the same maneuver in the afternoon, your mush is so much, and that you feel it in your stomach. The seat of the pants.
It's particular to sort of environments where there's sand, like Dubai or Barmer, desert sort of environment,
where the temperature variation is so high. In the morning, it could be 10 degrees. In the afternoon, it could be 40 degrees. And the air gets thinner at higher temperature. This could be one of the reasons. And any fighter pilot or any pilot, we listen to the engine sound much more than dials of the engine. Even a small variation in engine RPM catches our attention. Listening to the sound, I am no doubt that there was no technical or engine malfunction. Thirdly,
you're saying there was no technical or engine malfunction?
To me,
you
it
believe
appears so. Yeah.
Why do you say that? Why do you say that?
Because the engine till impact, to me, it appears that it has been functioning perfectly well. To me, it appears.
In which
because
case?
Because of the sound.
Right.
I'm trained to listen to the sound and make out the.
So I must ask a difficult question then. If there's if you believe prima facie, going by the sounds, that there was no engine or technical malfunction, then we must be confronted with how did this happen?
Wafer thin safety margin and high temperature is where I am putting my money on as days goes by. Again, I'm not speculating. As days go by, in a couple of months' time, we will come to know, Barkha, what is the real reason.
Yeah.
But when you're carrying out low altitude maneuver, the margin itself is very thin. In August, F-16, there was a crash in F-16. I think we did a show also on that.
Yes,
Colonel Slab went into the ground. Similar situation. The mush, aeroplane's nose was up. F-16 was absolutely appearing to be going up, but it was just last little scrape. He brushed with the ground and he lost his life. So the margin is very, very thin. Thirdly, it has no bearing on the capability or the standing the Tejas enjoys. Let me say this unequivocally, Barkha, to all of the viewers. There is no single engine fighter in the history of aviation which enjoys single engine fighter in the history of aviation in the world which enjoys the same safety record as Tejas enjoys. amount of flying it has flown in terms of sorties and hours, vis-a-vis the accidents that you see, Tejas has the highest or the best safety record in the world. So previous accident happened, I was in Jaisalmer at that time, was an engine malfunction, and this is the second accident since the induction of Tejas. And Tejas, mind you, is a single engine fighter. It is not a twin engine fighter. It's a single engine fighter. It has one of the best fly-by-wire system. And
I'm
fly-by-wire
so
is...
sorry. Before you explain fly-by-wire, and I want you to explain it, sir. It's very important that you mention that this is not a reflection on the standing of the Tejas or its ability, because you know what's going to happen, because this happened on a world stage. India's adversaries, those with vested interests, they're going to start sneering or smearing the Tejas. And I want you to just explain that while this is the second incident in 2 years, in the first one, the pilot was actually able to eject. And the ejection seat of the Tejas aircraft, the 00 special seat, is enabled for ejections. Secondly, in 23 years, 23, 24 years, these have been the only two mishaps that have taken place. And in the last one, the pilot was actually able to eject to safety. So just before you explain the fly-by-wire sort of mechanism that you were explaining, I want you to elaborate on the Tejas itself, right? Because it is the rollout of the program has been mired in delays, but the aircraft itself, you're saying what has happened today, countries or vested interests may seek to put a question mark on it, but you do not agree with that at all.
Absolutely not. Let me break it down logically. And you know, Barkha, that I speak logic, and probably that is why, I don't know, it's God's blessing, people listen to me.
Yes, yes.
Let me break it down logically. And I put forward this question to our viewers. Has Tejas' missile firing capability, missile carrying capability, or its radar capability, or its air-to-air refueling capability, or its radar warning receivers capability, or its fly-by-wire technology capability has anything to do with this accident? Answer is no, because this is a pilot versus aeroplane deal. A low-level aerobatics is a pilot control input versus aeroplane's performance deal. It has nothing to do with technology. It's as simple as that. Now let's talk about why professional air forces which are looking at Tejas as one of the platform that they want to induct into their Indian Air Force will not look at it as a setback at all, because professional air forces know people do low-level aerobatics, are walking on thin ice. The safety margins are very, very less. Third, 13 crashes of F-35, Barkha. There are countries standing in line, running after Trump to give them F-35. Did the 13 accidents of F-35, one you saw was stranded in Thiruvananthapuram for so many days?
Yes.
Did it have any bearing on F-35's sellability? Or
how many accidents did you say? 13. The F-35 is at 13?
13. F-35.
12 or 13.
F-35,
Yeah.
12. Yeah.
Yeah.
So professional air forces know low-level aerobatics is the deal that you do to demonstrate the aeroplane's close combat and the maneuvering capability to your people, so that they feel happy that we have an aeroplane which can do such great aerobatics. Youngsters who watch the aerobatics want to join Air Force, so you're motivating them to join Air Force. And third, countries which want to buy this aeroplane are able to first-hand see the capability of this aeroplane. They will not hold it against this particular crash. In fact, this particular crash, like I said, is the pilot versus aeroplane versus the environment deal. In this, my blame is towards the environment for simple reason. Environment is invisible to a pilot. The same set of situation in the morning is not the same set of condition in the morning is not the same set of condition in the afternoon in desert regions. So that is where I think that few 10, 20, 30 feet that we lost because the high temperature led to this accident. Otherwise, pilot would have easily come out, because he has done this maneuver in the morning. He's done it yesterday. He's done it day before. So it is not the first time he is doing it. So that is why I'm saying that it will not be held against Tejas in spite of this accident. Barkha, it is Googleable today. You can, you cannot say something and get away. I'm saying this. People can go and Google it. Show me
Yeah.
one single engine fighter in the history of aviation. I'm not saying the current history of aviation ever made or till date has been made and it is working and flying in air forces, which has the safety record of a Tejas. No fighter, not even F-35.
Can you explain, because you have done so much of this yourself, why aerobatics, which is very close to the ground, is actually a genre of flying by itself, right? It is actually a highly specialized genre of flying by itself, and what its accompanying risks are. As you said, it's often pilot versus the environment, pilot versus the plane. It's not about whether that jet is proficient or not. And as you mentioned, you've put out a challenge there. You've said no single engine jet in the history of aviation has the safety record of the Tejas. And I think that's a really important thing to say right now. But can you explain what the risks are of aerobatic flying, especially when it's so low to the ground, like at an air show?
Absolutely. In fact, when only senior pilots with a lot of experience are chosen to be a low-level aerobatics pilot. Secondly, once you're chosen to be a low-level aerobatic pilot, then you get into a different league of pilots yourself, because now you choose your aeroplane. You rehearse the maneuver. We call it the chair flying or the arm flying. We go in front of the aeroplane on the tarmac. Anyone who's watching us may think he's gone mad. We use our hand or a model and
Yeah.
we fly it or virtually fly it and, mentally fly it, visualize it, the power of visualization. And in this power of visualization, what are we doing? We know at this point, what is my checkpoint? At this point, what is my check height, check speed? At this point, what is my check height and check speed? Here, in the negative G maneuver, the pilot would have checked, okay, my height should be this. It's slightly less, maybe a little bit of a top rudder to come up a little, things like that. I mean, I'm going into nuances. So
Yeah.
these are the things that pilots practice slightly at a higher height with somebody watching from the ground.
Yeah.
So you are under the watchful eyes of a senior flight supervisor from the ground. In this case also, one of his colleague would be sitting in an observation tower, talking to him two-way and telling him you're okay, or telling him you're slightly low, correct for it. So the SFS, we call him the SFS, or the safety pilot, is also talking to the display pilot. Now the display pilot, safety pilot combo is working together here. And at all times, he is under watchful eyes and watchful supervision of people. Then you lower the height when you're practicing. All this you do it in India before you go abroad to show. Like Surya Kirans. Surya Kirans do a lot of practice. Before you become a Surya Kiran display pilot, you're a trainee pilot sitting with somebody else, learning the art of flying. It's not easy, Barkha. It's very, very difficult. Like I said, very wafer thin safety margin. One mistake, and like all fighter pilots go down, they go down in flames.
Yeah, it is. It is extremely tragic. I want you to explain one more thing. We have a new video which captures the crash from another angle, which I want to play out in a moment. But you were explaining the fly-by-wire mechanism, and I want you to explain that.
Okay, now fly-by-wire is very, very important thing for people to understand.
Yeah.
One, fly-by-wire is a set of computer, and in Tejas there are 4 of them, not one. 4 computers doing the same thing. It's called the quadruplex fly-by-wire. The control input of the pilot is actually a demand to the computer. Unlike a manual aeroplane, when you move this control sticks, the control column moves. In a fly-by-wire, when you move the stick, the control surfaces don't move. Control surfaces are moved by the computer. So your control pilot's control movements are an input to the computer. If suppose I'm at high speed and I'm turning, I've got full stick back, full aft stick. That means I want to turn maximum. In a manual aeroplane, you can overstress the aeroplane. Instead of 9G, 9 times the gravity, if you pull it, say 10 or 12 or 11, the aeroplane is not designed for, you may buckle the aeroplane or you may even break the aeroplane. In a fly-by-wire, you cannot do that. If the 9G is the limit, aeroplane will only give you 9G. You may ask 10, you may ask 20, doesn't matter. Computer will decide how much controls to come out so that the aeroplane is not overstressed. Similarly, at low speed, I may want to take the nose up very high. Aeroplane will not allow you to do that. Computers will not allow you to do that. So your pilot's control input is a demand in a fly-by-wire system. If it can give you, it will give you. If it cannot give you, it will clip it. The clipper circuits come into play. Fly-by-wire is an extremely required element in a negatively stable aeroplane like a Tejas or a Mirage 2000 or a Rafale. It's not possible to manually fly this aeroplane. It is impossible because they are negatively stable. As in
explain this. What do you mean it's not possible to manually fly this plane? Explain, please.
Superb. So let me use this remote as an example. If the center of gravity of the aeroplane is here, and if the lifting force is here, the nose goes down. If the lifting force is in front, the nose goes up. So negatively stable aeroplane, the lifting force is actually here. Why? In front. Why? Because you want the aeroplane to maneuver quickly. You don't want a stable aeroplane. Fighter aeroplanes needs to be unstable, not stable. Passenger carrying aeroplane needs to be extremely stable. Fighter aeroplanes needs to be unstable. The more unstable fighter aeroplane is, the more maneuverable it is. It is easy to maneuver. So it is deliberately made unstable, and the artificial stability is provided by the computers called the fly-by-wire computers. We call it the FCS.
I see.
The flight control systems.
I see.
So it is impossible to fly without the computer.
Right. Now, sir, I know you're in much demand. I need a few more minutes of your time. There is a new video just released by ANI, who has sourced it, I think, from Gulf News. I want to play this video out. I want you to look at it and tell us your thoughts. Let's play this, please. There's no sound, please. We need the video with sound. If we can just come out and you can maybe find the video with the sound. Okay. It's a new video, but I want the bit with the sound to come up. I want to ask you in the meantime, while our producers stack that up, the court of inquiry, the Air Force has made a very brief statement, sir, and they have actually said, apart from, of course, offering their condolences to the family of the pilot, a court of inquiry. So what will a court of inquiry be looking at, sir?
Exactly what we are talking about, Barkha. Nothing is left. In fact, there is another still image showing the crash site and the fire tender trying to douse it. And as we speak, the air show has already started. The Sukhois, I think, are performing.
Right. So life has to carry on, of course.
The show has to go on.
But sir, I have the video ready. But complete your thought on the court of inquiry. Complete your thought on the court of inquiry.
Nothing is left. So the court of inquiry will take out the FDR, aka black box. Look at the parameters. In a couple of months down the road, if it is declassified, then we will know what happened. If it is not declassified, we will not know what happened.
And it may not be declassified because it's a national security. It's a fighter jet.
Not necessarily, because it happened in foreign soil.
Yes.
Maybe we owe answers to UAE as well. So probably it will be declassified. And since it has gathered so much of media attention, probably it will be declassified. 90% I can stick my... I've never been touchwood, Barkha, and
wrong.
Thank God, I've never been wrong in my assessments in any crashes till date, because I'm trained crash investigator. 99% it will be the hot condition that will be, the major cause for the accident.
So before I get your last comment, we're going to make another attempt to play out this new video that has just come out, released by ANI, which captures the crash from a different angle. Let's take a look. Chilling, absolutely chilling, sir. You see the fire engines rush. I think we just lost, did we just lose Dr. Augustine there? If we can maybe reconnect him for a final comment. In the meantime, I want to play this video again. This is released by ANI. Let's just hear it one more time. I can see Dr. Augustine joining us, but in the meantime, let's just play it one more time with the sound. So I was just saying, Dr. Augustine, that it's really chilling, and you can see the fire engines immediately rush to the site of the crash, and it's just all over in seconds. And that is the life, the daring life of a fighter jet pilot. But when you see this video, what additional thoughts did you have?
Loss of a comrade, loss of a friend, loss
Yes.
of one of my band of brother.
I know, sir. My heart just goes out, and I don't know how many people know, sir, but not just are you an acclaimed fighter jet pilot and a crash investigator, you are married also to somebody I have had the pleasure of interviewing many times. Varsha ma'am is a drone pilot, highly specialized, skilled pilot, and I hope you will give her my regards. And the reason I mention this is because people don't understand, for a military family, no work day is a normal day. For military families, when you go out to work, it's not like other people going out to work, right?
Absolutely.
Every day is a tryst, possible tryst with death and life.
Absolutely. And in fact, in Bidar, where Surya Kirans were stationed, I used to be flying there, and she had her office facing the runway. And you see in our screen the CFT, we call it the crash fire tender, running on the runway. So
Yes.
some mishaps or some minor mishaps, or sometimes even for an exercise or for practice, these crash fire tenders used to run left, right. And every time it passed her office, she used to skip a beat because it could have been her husband.
Yeah. And it is all I can say is my heart today goes out to the pilot's family, to his friends, to his mates, to the entire Air Force community, to the military community. But I think every Indian must feel not just the pain of the loss of life, but also an appreciation and an acknowledgement for our men and women in uniform, for what you and people like you do every single day of your life. We can only thank you for your service. Group Captain Dr. Augustine, I am forever indebted to your wisdom. I always learn so much from you. And thank you, sir, for helping us decode this tragic crash that has taken place. Thank you, Sir. Jai Hind. Thank you.
Jai Hind.
Thank you. And well, that brings this special programming to a close at this point, but we will keep following all the ramifications. We leave you right now with a sound up on this new video that has just been released that captures the final moments of the Tejas before it crashed. Take a look and see you also. It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Manouvre Story and support independent, robust journalism.